You're listening to Countercurrent, the podcast about business, family, and freedom. Hosted by Aaron Smith and Jack Hudson.
All right, so we are back again. I have no idea what episode we're on, and it doesn't really matter.
9. Almost double digits.
Episode 9. Got it. I am stoked to be back. I obviously was out in Florida. That's why, if you're watching, I have very flaky skin going on because I went out for a run and got tortured by the sun. But it was a good run. It was nice to be on the beach. It was definitely different than...
Yeah, keep complaining.
Here in Ohio. Yeah. It was great.
That's awesome.
But so I'm going to take the hot take this week. Did you do one last week or not?
No, we let down the fans.
God, come on. That's what. As we get more guests on, I'm so excited to hear everybody else's hot takes. My hot take happened on our flight back to Indy. We left from Daytona, spring break Daytona, 2006. Left from Daytona to Atlanta and then Atlanta to Indy. Our flight left super late at night. We went through Atlanta's airport at like 10 p.m.
With 2 kids.
Super late for me.
And your parents.
And my parents, yep. And then we got back to Indy at 12:30 in the morning. So it was rough the next day. I've never been up that late in my 30s. So it is definitely out of character. But in Atlanta's airport, I was hungry. And so I went to Chick-fil-A. So standing in line, there's masses of people. If you've been to Atlanta's airport, it's huge, always busy. And I get to the front of the line, order my 12 count chicken nugget, Diet Coke with Pebble Ice. It's amazing. And then as I'm going through and paying, they ask for a tip.
No.
And so
at Chick-fil-A?
At Chick-fil-A in the airport.
I don't think it was their pleasure then.
Yes. Oh, that was good. And I know that like over the last few years, the topic around tipping has been out in the public, very controversial. And that I just think is egregious. I completely believe in tipping in certain instances. That situation right there is exactly why I think the pendulum has swung in the other direction for people, because this is Chick-fil-A in the airport, right? Like you're doing nothing different than the Chick-fil-A in Noblesville, and they do not ask for a tip.
And normally the airport food workers aren't even that friendly.
No, especially at 10 p.m. in Atlanta's airport when they've been dealing with people all day long.
No. Maybe if they offered to like, can I get your bag on the way to the gate too?
Yes.
It'd be like $20. Here you go.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Or if they gave me all of the ranch packets that they had behind them.
Yes.
Sure. I'll throw you about
them. Yeah, absolutely.
But that's where so throwing it out there to you. When do you, what's the line for tipping for you?
So I like to tip if I've been served. To me, if you just take an order or you are going to grab the food from carryout, no tip. That might be brutal. But I also like tip really well at local businesses, even if I'm just getting a coffee.
Yep.
Like coffee shops around here.
Yep.
I always hit the $2 or whatever.
I'm the same way with that, especially here downtown. The baristas at Bika and Noble Coffee are also like my semi-therapist too. Talking through my daily lows and the highs and the lows of life. It's like they make great coffee, but they're also like good people in your corner too. Yeah. Right. And so that's where I firmly believe it. It's actually interesting. Debbie's daughters right down the street, they don't do tipping at all. And they purposely, they have a like a little sign next to their cash register that talks about why they don't. So they charge more so that they can pay everybody well, and that their staff does not have to rely on tips. Yeah. So I think that's another interesting way to go about it too. Like same aspect, but.
Right. Yeah. But to me, if you haven't really like had any personal interaction, it's probably not worth the tip. And I feel like that's totally fair.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy about that. Something I saw that was cool. This isn't exactly tipping, but it's kind of related. We went to Bistro on 9th Street. Your favorite
9th Street Bistro.
9th Street Bistro.
There you go.
There you go. But on the cocktail menu, they have the nonprofit drink.
Yeah.
And
the Darren Peterson.
There you go. So if you have cash, you can put your money in a bin in the bathrooms that they collect.
Yep.
Or if you don't have cash, they just charge you basically for a cocktail, but the money goes towards a nonprofit. And then every time they hit like $400, they give it to a local charity. And we thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Yep.
That was so cool.
And the coolest part is it happened on accident.
Yeah.
Right. So they had like, if you've never been there before, they have jars in the bathroom. And it sounds weird. It's not weird when you're
it's not weird.
Well, for the short, when we cut it, we'll get a picture of it so that you can see what it looks like. But it started an accident where somebody, when they were in the bathroom, just put money in the jar. And so now it's like their thing, which is like, I think a cool part of their culture.
Yeah. Super cool. Super cool. No, I think tipping's gotten out of hand. I think it's weird that they all have like a tip screen at like some small boutique or something too. It's like I bought a shirt.
Yeah.
You know, it makes no sense. Or I bought a candlestick and you want 15%.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But I think some of it's just that people don't know how to use their point of sale systems.
I think it's that. And again, going back to the Debbie's Daughters reference, right? Like, I think I would much rather know that they are paying their employees well. And I'd actually like rather pay more for my meal, knowing that they're running their operation that way. And investing in their employees and doing it that way. Obviously, like the work that we do, we're in the hospitality and tourism business with some of our Matchbox clients, and you know they heavily rely on tips, right? And so I think that it hurts the restaurant industry that is built around tipping when other people abuse it. Yeah. To me, I feel like the bad things to get tipping, the next place it would be like the car wash. Like you roll through basic, premium, or pro plus. Yes,
and then they're like, it's going to ask you a few quick questions.
A few quick questions.
All you did was ask me which one I wanted. I could so see that being a thing. That's
my splurge gift is that I have a monthly
unlimited
membership too.
I got 5 car washes in one of the books for Christmas, and I have been using them very sparingly.
Yeah.
I'm through 2, but I'm like, I need to make it through the summer. But
I could see that. I would not be pleased if that happened. Especially if I'm on a monthly unlimited membership.
Or they hit you with an email after. Would you like to make a monthly gratuity gift?
Yes. No. I would not.
No. Let the robot wash my car.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Well, it's a good hot take.
It's a great hot take.
I'm glad to be back. I was joking with Jack when I'm always reluctant in a way to take vacations. I don't stop very well. I don't get out of my way. I love what I do, and I'm really lucky to be in the business that I am, and that I enjoy the work that I do. But getting everything done before I go on vacation, to actually go on vacation and unplug, I never think about it before I go, how good it is to get out of your own way and take a vacation and
always worth it.
Take a break for a while. But my toxic trait is that I come back on fire, ready to do something new. So I always say it's like my mid-year crisis, that I want to buy a building or start a new business or, do something else. And this time I walked in on Monday and I was like, I want to start a donut shop. I love donuts. I want to do it. And then gradually, obviously, I talk myself out of it because it's probably not a good use of my time and probably not a best ROI when I already don't have any time in my schedule to do anything like that. But I do think that it's a sign of that entrepreneurial bug that you either have or you don't. Right. In my opinion, it's just like a gene that you have.
Well, maybe we'll be very successful with this round of businesses. And then when we go to retire, we'll just try things and see what sticks.
I would love that.
We'll buy a building.
Yes.
And then we'll try a donut shop for 6 months. If it doesn't work, we'll gut the place.
Yeah.
And then we'll be like, let's try a deli, or let's try a little blues club, or, we'll just keep going until we find something that works. We can make it just like a test incubator space for different fine foods and baked goods.
Yes. Fine foods, donuts.
Yeah. Fine foods. Yeah. We'll go learn from the best at Long's.
Yes.
We could have a partnership.
That's going to be my next hot take. As Long's Donuts is the best place on the face of the planet.
We need to have the owner in.
Yeah.
Owner of Vlogs Donuts.
Please come in.
Please come in.
Yeah.
We would love to talk to you, hear how you keep track of your cash.
Yeah.
Oh, that was your hot take.
That's another hot take, right? Like cash only businesses are killing it. Like they're either doing something amazing or illegal. And for like the case of Long's Donuts, I don't care. Their donuts are amazing. They're great.
There's always like 6 cop cars there though, like consistently.
Well, let's not play into that. Yes, police officers do love donuts, but I love donuts too. And
No, but it's funny because you're like, what is going on? As Long's under siege, because then you go in there and you don't even see any of them.
Yeah.
There's just cop cars there.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
Cash only businesses. But yeah, so like I think walking away from my time off, I was just reignited for like the work that we do, and was excited to come back and hop back into it. But then thinking through, I think the signs. What's one of the questions that I know you and I have both been asked in this process is like, how do you know if you're an entrepreneur or not? Mm-hmm. Like what does it take? And I think it takes a lot of guts to like step out and do the work that we do, no matter if it's running a donut shop or a coffee shop or in like the comms work that you and I both do. But I think it's, you either have it or you don't. Like that gene.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Emily and I led a lunch and learn at Butler yesterday
that's fun.
For Butler communication students. They were all great. But one of the girls has a nonprofit that she's been running since like high school for like 5 years.
Super cool.
And it collects books to give to like churches and hospitals and schools. And they've distributed 50,000 books.
Wow.
And she said it basically runs itself now, and it's expanding out of the state. Like she doesn't really have to do anything with it. She totally has the itch though. Because then she was like, well, I'd like to kind of do strat comms in this world. And I was like, that's great, because you can just do a pro bono project and then pitch it.
Yeah.
And then we talked about how a lot of times grants have earmarked money for PR and marketing and stuff. And then another girl has had like a series of little high school hustles of like doing nails and selling this and doing that. And it was super cool. One girl wants to go into journalism. She was an exchange student from South Korea. And we're like, get a Substack. Just go be an independent journalist. And she was asking, well, do you think I need to move to DC or somewhere else? And I was like, it depends what you want to write about. Yep. I said, for the most part, you can comment on anything from anywhere now. Mm-hmm. But if you want to go break the news, you probably need to be there. Mm-hmm. But it was so cool to see everybody with the bug. And then one guy's going to LA this summer to work in a music studio. He always thought he wanted to be a chef, and now all of his friends are in the humanities and like studying philosophy and stuff. And he's gotten passionate about that. And we're like, okay, maybe find a way because he said maybe he wants to go into secondary ed and do research on the entertainment industry and stuff. And I said, okay, maybe you start by finding a way to explain that with food, right? Mm-hmm. If you're passionate about food and you're passionate about this, explain how the music industry works with a recipe, right? And post it and see if it works. And if you don't like it, do something else. Mm-hmm. But it was so cool to see, we threw it out there of like, well, what was your dream job when you were a kid? Why is it not that now? Or what about that was appealing?
That's good. What was it for you?
I wanted to be the host of Good Morning America.
I did not know this. That's amazing.
Yes, I wanted to be George Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America.
So this is feeding that.
Right, this is feeding that
scratching the itch.
And then we wound up being behind the camera somehow. Yeah. And then I wanted to be president for a long time. And I still think if I stumbled into that, I wouldn't be upset.
Stumbled into it, naturally.
But I don't know that I would go out of my way to do that. Yeah. But no, hosted Good Morning. I used to watch Good Morning America before school every day. And I just wanted to be like Robin Roberts and say, Good Morning, America. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to wake up this country one day. Yeah. That was my thing. What was your thing?
I wanted to be an architect. Like my entire childhood. Yeah. I was a weirdo. I mean, I know both you and I are like 90-year-olds stuck in mid 20/30-year-old bodies. I was the same way when I was 7 years old. So it was like we were going to the grocery store. All the other kids were getting like actual books for, kids. And I was getting the house plan books.
Oh, that's great.
So I would get like the magazine and like look at the way that houses were structured and,
that's super cool.
And all that. So yeah, it was not normal. Not normal. But I think that, so like, it was an interest when I was a kid. When I was in high school, I went through 4 years of architecture classes. Initially chose the college that I did in DC because it was the only architecture school in DC.
Wow.
And then obviously the political bug bit me there. And that's how that shifted for me. But what I've told people going through into high school and to college, not knowing what they want to do, one, I think it comes full circle for everybody. For me, now that I'm on council, I review all the neighborhoods that are coming through.
Right.
And so I use what I learned in architecture school to better understand how we can make great neighborhoods here. Right. So like, even though I'm not an architect now, I still use that and the structure around architecture and the graphics around architecture, how to do that all plays into the comms work that we do now too.
And you're doing, do you apply any of this at your house? Are you doing some remodeling?
Yes, we are doing remodeling. We have a house that was built in 1948, and I feel like the place is in constant remodel, which drives my wife crazy. I can live in the midst of the chaos. She does not like living in the midst of the chaos. Okay. Sorry, Bronwyn. But it's when your house is that old, it's just a constant. Yes, it's constant. Yeah. I was talking to a neighbor of mine last night, and they just redid their porch, and I was like, I so want a front porch. So we're working on the basement now, but then
the front of the house is coming off.
Yeah, then the front porch.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big part of your beliefs is the front porch.
Yes, I'll die on that hill.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, I wrote an op-ed in the IBJ in January that talked about the ways that our communities need to be less lonely. Like, and this is not just Noblesville or Indiana. This is a nationwide problem for us. And so I'm trying to make Noblesville a little less lonely. So I think it starts in places like our office where we get together with people every week and be able to get to know each other. But I think like in the ways that we structure our neighborhoods, right, that matters. And so even in our council meeting last night, I told a developer that they needed to scratch some of the plans that they had shown us because they don't have big enough front porches. Like I want people in Noblesville to know their neighbors. Yeah. And then 15 years from now, we're the community that has great front porches and hopefully like the fees waived to have block parties like in your community. That's awesome. I want to be the city of block parties. Yeah. That's what I want Noblesville to be known for.
I think the cool thing, two things. One, Jeff Worrell, city councilman from Carmel, just made a video about getting to know your neighbors. Okay. So I'll plug Jeff because he's a client and an awesome guy. He's the uncle I wish I had. Amazing guy. But two, a lot of my step family lives down in Nashville, and during COVID,
Indiana or Tennessee?
Tennessee. Okay. During COVID, somehow, music business, they all still wanted to stay active. Everybody started doing like front porch concerts. Mm-hmm. Because Nashville is really just a lot of little neighborhoods, which is super cool. But like one of their neighbors was a guy that won The Voice 4 years ago or something. And he would do front porch concerts and invite his friends out. So cool because they would all just sit out in the road and spread out. Yeah. And every Friday they just knew this neighbor had a front porch concert, invite who you want. But they would have like big names show up and stuff too.
That's really cool.
So cool. So I think a lot of that culture stayed though, because it was the year after COVID and he's like, summer series is starting back up. Mm-hmm. That's great. And I feel like we don't get much of that sort of thing.
So as a new Noblesville resident,
yes.
Have you heard of the Front Porch Festival?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So like we did here in Noblesville, we even do that on the Brick Logan Street over here. Where you come out.
Because we were in here when that happened.
Oh, last year. Yeah.
But we couldn't go that weekend.
Yeah. Now that you live right down the street, now that we've pulled you in. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. It's a great way to show off your community, but then you also get to come out and get to know your neighbors. And
absolutely. Well, and even like Center Stage, the guitar shop, I know they do every Saturday, they have concerts or something and bring bands in. And, I think it's a great way to get people together, especially if it's just a consistent thing that you can show up to. Mm-hmm. You don't feel like you're necessarily waiting all year for. How can we just promote the summer, be out, be active, meet people? I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, and I think even that in a way is pretty entrepreneurial. It was two guys that live here downtown Noblesville that said like, this is our vision. We want to be able to. We've seen it happen in other communities. We want to show off Logan Street.
Yeah.
We don't know how we're going to do it. We don't know how we're going to pay the bands. We don't know how we're going to advertise for it and make it happen. And they did it in like a month and a half the first year. It was a crazy small window. But that's whether it's an event like that or a business. The Peony Festival is another example. They took the initiative to do it, figured out how to make it happen, and it caught fire.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's really cool from my end and yours too, to like work with so many people that have that itch,
right? That
once it catches fire, it's magic. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's also like such a difference between entrepreneurship and like the corporate world is I know that I don't fall into like corporate culture very well.
Yeah.
I break too many rules, and
which is funny because you worked in government, which is like slower corporate culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like going from the federal government to owning your own business is like as big of a jump as you can take. And it did take a little while to like get used to that because it's super bureaucratic to make any change. Right. And that process. I loved.
And now you can wake up and just change something.
Yes. Right. It drives everybody around me crazy. Especially when I go on vacation, I come back and I turn into a crazy person wanting to change everything.
We're going to renovate this whole building now.
We are. Yes. That's a plug that we can put in for a few weeks from now that we can talk about more information, but it's one of the reasons why I think we work well together is that we both want to do fun things. And so we might be taking over more space up here too, which will be even more fun. So this background may change.
It very well could. Yeah. Might change it altogether. But so we talked about entrepreneurship takes guts. You have to be gutsy. I know a lot of people that have taken that step and then maybe I have one person in mind, but I'm not going to name names. But maybe they want to pivot or they have part of the job that they want to work on the business, not in the business. Yep. And they want to up their name ID and be active in industry, right? That's kind of your specialty is helping people with PR. Mm-hmm. How would you take an industry expert that's been doing the work for a long time and say, hey, let's make you a name in the industry.
Mm-hmm. Fake it till you make it. Yeah. Right. Like I never, going back 10 years ago, actually, when I was journaling this morning, I was thinking about it. Like I never expected to ever have an op-ed published anywhere ever. Yeah. Right. Like why would anybody care what I think about anything? And so part of it is just, I think in that case, writing down like what's important to you, or if you want to talk about it in a forum, like a lunch and learn, right? Like put together the lunch and learn and see who comes out, right? Like, and part of it at first you have to manufacture it, right? Like you have to have people around you to look like you have support, right? Because you don't know what you're doing. It's just making up as you go along. But I think it's kind of like a perpetual motion thing. Like once I got one op-ed published, then I understood the process and how to make it work. And like the favorite one that I've done so far, I don't know if I told you about this. This is another hot take. I firmly believe that there should be a blackout for the race in Central Indiana.
Oh, I read this.
Yeah. Like firmly believe it. And this goes to the loneliness piece. Like growing up, I went to the race a few times, but like my most vivid memories of the race are being in my living room on that Sunday, my dad fast asleep in the chair, like one lap in, and just hearing the sounds of the race. So that's one. But then I also remember like going to a backyard barbecue and listening to the race while you're around your neighbors.
And then you watch the rerun.
Or you go to the race, right? And then you're a part of a collective experience that you're in a community, right? Like you're forced to go if you want to. You can watch a race anytime on TV, and that's fine. I just don't think that when we have the magic, right? That's part of the magic. So it was funny. I think it was this past year. wasn't there like wasn't there a delay? And I can't remember the logistics.
The weather.
Yeah, I can't remember the
rain delay.
logistics around it.
Because they almost pushed it a day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But everybody is still on Twitter was super mad about the blackout.
Yes.
And they were talking about lifting it.
We got coffee like the day after this last year.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was probably still hot about it.
Yeah.
And so I wrote an op-ed talking about how they should keep the race blacked out. And I sent it to the IBJ and they ran it.
Yeah.
Right. And so like that has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with business. It has nothing to do with like anything. It's just like, what's your hot take? Right. And like, why is it important to you? A lot of times they won't run it. And that's fine. Yeah. Even if they didn't run it, like it was fun to put it together.
Right. And if they don't run it, you can still put it on your blog or whatever else. So.
It's fine. But I think like to your initial question, right? If you're out there and you're trying to figure out like, I want to be a thought leader in this area, don't wait, just do it. Yeah. Right. And as a lot of it's throwing spaghetti against the wall, see what sticks. Yeah. But you have to put yourself out there.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think I've seen a lot of people come down that path if they're like, I'm like, you're such an expert at this and you want to move up or pivot or make a jump to maybe you've been doing this for 30 years and you want to do something different, but you have 30 years of knowledge on this topic. You don't even need to do the work anymore. You can talk about it. You can evaluate things. You can, you can help push for policy if it's on that side of things, or you can go get on a board. I think there's so many opportunities when you do, sort of whether it's get sick of where you're at or just build up your wealth of knowledge, and you can start to pass that off and scale it down to other people in your organization. I think there's so many places you can go.
Or if you see, and this is very entrepreneurial, but like if you see a gap out there, right? Like I see a lot of people talking about AI and talking about AI from like a negative standpoint.
All the time.
And there's no one talking about the positives about it. Right. Yeah. So, I just wrote an op-ed that I know I shared with you that I'm trying to get published somewhere where, I talk about the positives of AI, right? Like I think that, 10 years ago, right? If you knew how to use Photoshop or InDesign, any Adobe suite, you were good at what you did because you were able to guard the toolbox. Right. To know how to do it. Yeah. And now AI is flattening that, the access to that, and in such a cool way where there's so much artificial content out there now, right? That I think the authenticity that you either bring to the work or the relationships that you have to leverage that, that's going to be the game changer. And so I think it's going to be really cool over the next 5 years to watch that play out. Oh yeah. And the people that are not investing in those relationships that to be able to actually propel the AI work forward, that's going to be the missing link in my opinion. Yeah. And I want to talk about it, right? Like that's what I want to be known as the city councilor that cares too much about brick and the comms guy that talks about the authenticity behind the AI. Yeah. Like that's my shtick.
Well, and I've noticed, I know you say authentic and authenticity a lot. Yeah. But I've noticed more and more people saying it in the last month. Yeah. Like not just here. And maybe it's because I'm listening for it. Yeah. But
it's like when you say red Prius and then you see red Prius is everywhere.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I've heard it a bunch lately. And I think that there's people just want to feel something. And it doesn't have to be, you can make great AI content that you wrote the script for and it came out nice. That can still make people feel something, but it was authentic because there was somebody engineering that, there was a human behind that somewhere. But people also just want to know people and talk to people and interact with people. And I think people can so tell when it's forced.
Oh, absolutely.
And tell when it's scripted and tell when, and yes, there's a time and a place to script something, but you can still script it authentically. It can't be the first time somebody's read something on screen and you can tell. And I think I've said this for like 3 or 4 years and it sounds like super out there, but I think we're going to go through a creative renaissance is my thing. Now more than ever, you have thousands of people online only pursuing their passion every day because they have 20,000 followers and it pays their bills because, maybe the paint they use sponsors their video or the website they sell their paintings on does, or they're getting artless to pay them to put the beat in the song they're making. People can pursue what they want more than ever. And yes, it might take 100 days of 300 videos to get there, but you can get there. And there is a science to it. There's a way that you can just force the system. But you have to do it authentically, and you have to have a unique value prop. But I think now more than ever, you can tell AI, hey, I want to become an influencer by doing X thing online. Make me a step-by-step plan. And I think we're getting freed up to do that. And I think as jobs get automated, like we talked about in the past, industries that used to exist don't exist anymore. I think that's going to happen at some level. And
we shouldn't be afraid to talk about it.
No. And I don't think it's a bad thing. And I think that more and more people are going to be freed up to do exactly what they've always dreamt of doing. And that's it. And I think it'll be a great thing. And then I have some professors. I have an old professor that emailed me. He's an author, and he said, I don't think there will be any jobs in 10 years, but we'll see how it goes. He said, let me just pull it out.
There was an addendum to that. I remember you reading this off to me.
Yes, this is hilarious.
No, but I think like that's the whole thing too, right? Like AI, I think that so many people view it with a glass half empty. When there is so much opportunity to view it with the glass half full, if that's what you want to.
Right. Absolutely. He said, I think maybe there will be no employment of any kind in 10 years. So maybe there's no way out for anyone. I suppose that's the final sign of total societal collapse when the only job left is English professor. It's the best line.
That is good.
The best line. Such a cool guy.
I think that's like what I said in the piece, though, is like, don't bury your head in the sand and be afraid to ride the wave. Right. Like, I think there's a lot of people out there that are so nervous about it that they're just not going to pay attention to it at all. And in my opinion, that's like not paying attention to their internet in late 1990s. Right. Like the folks that did were the ones that were able to ride the wave. Right.
Unless you're within 5 years of retirement, you need to pay attention.
Correct.
Like,
yes.
And if you are close to retirement and you don't want to worry about it, and you're like, the minute AI takes over my job, I'm done.
Yes.
Great. Do that.
You can come work at my donut shop.
Yeah, exactly. And have a great time.
We won't do any AI.
If you're a former accountant, you can do the books. If you just want to talk to people, you can work the register.
Cash only. Cash
only is right. No, but I think that it's going to be a really good thing in the long run. And I know that's super controversial. Everybody seems to think it's going to be awful.
I do think though, like, I saw on Instagram, there was someone that bought a laundromat, and it's not just that
young guy.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll pull it up. We'll link the account in our,
something.
Yeah. Something somewhere under here. But it's a place to do your laundry, but it's also a place to know your community. Right. And so they in the post, they talked about how they hosted Thanksgiving. They do like comedy nights. They did,
and they have like little coffee stand or something. Yeah.
Like that's super cool. Right. That is so authentic. And like the world of AI, they are still trying to figure out like, okay, how can we do something different or countercurrent? You could say. Did not even plan that. But that's it, right? Like no matter what industry you're in, it could be a heavy AI industry that you're still trying to figure out like, how do I do this different than what everybody else is doing? Or you could have a business that has nothing to do with AI at all.
Right.
And you're still using it as a tool to figure out how to make things better.
Well, and I think it can make your work better and speed it up, which means you can do more of the work you love. And maybe you can bring your prices down, but I think a lot of the times you don't have to, because there's still some part of it that other people can't do, right? Like we started using this AI storyboard maker to sort of get our shot sheet before productions. So we used it over the weekend. We were on a shoot, and we even uploaded the primary person's face into the AI generator, and it made all the AI images have her in it.
Interesting.
It was so cool. So I literally just gave it all of the locations from the day and the script. And it not only did it make it look like her, but it used the locations and like recreated the playground from a place.
Wow.
It was insane, and gave us a whole bunch
cool.
of shots, which was great. So the guy that hired us for that was like, will you send me a link to this? Because it's so, and if you don't have a script, you can tell it what you want it to be about, and it will help script writing, at least get an initial draft down. So if you're trying to do planning for here's what we need shots of, super, super cool.
Well, and that's what I think is so cool. I know that you and I both agree, like where you're like burn it down when it comes to colleges, right? Like it just needs to be different. Like we need to be able to operate differently than what is standard. If you would be active in your industry 15 years ago, it would be super guarded to be able to do something like not only the shot list, but like doing that shoot over the weekend, right?
Yeah.
Like you would have had to be in the industry for X number of years to know the right person to be able to do X, and for you to be able to do that, I think let's call the industry out. Yeah.
So like most of the large production firms are union, which nothing wrong with that, but they can only work 8 hours. You have to have a meal, and then it's like double overtime after you hit your hours, and they'll never agree to do more than 4 locations in a day because it's all the equipment. You're running 2 gripped vans with a bunch of camera and lighting equipment. So we got in our car and did a 12-hour day and did 11 locations and had a quick beer at lunch with the whole crew.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute blast, and everybody was totally exhausted by the end of the day. But now more than ever, cameras are fantastic, and you can get into them more easily. You can hold a diffuser up in the air and get better lighting. Like we threw a light up 2 times with a battery on it. Didn't even have to be by an outlet. And other than that, it was all super documentary run again style. And I mean, I don't even think people were doing that in our industry 2 years ago.
Yep.
And I think that's changing because they realize the quality of content they can get and spend a third of the price because they're not hiring 8 people for a day. And then the shot sheet 2 years ago, I was getting ads for a website that gave you example shots, that you had to go through and pull out and add to your shot sheet. Now it just does it all on its own. And you still had to like scour through them and search like close up of hands in a classroom.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. Well, that still exists.
It does, but
but you don't even have to do that anymore, which is insane.
Is that okay? Or the light's blinking.
That's the batteries. The battery's getting near death. That's okay.
That's fine. But I think that's so true, right? And the ability that you have to do that is only because you're willing to ride the wave, right? And embrace it. And the people that are in your industry that are clinging on to what the past was like, those are the ones that are going to be left behind,
right? And like I told them, I was like, there's still a time and a place for that. Yep. There's a time and a place for 20 crew. I have a buddy that's trying to scale up nationally and globally because they want to move where his wife's family's from. And right now, all of his clientele's in Indy. So he's like ready to take on investors. He's going to start 3 different businesses that all feed this production house. But he's doing hospital commercial shoots, and he's doing huge work that requires that. And these are massive campaigns. But in some industries, you need speed and you need quantity, and you need to be ready to react and ready to be proactive at the same time. And when that's the case, you got to worry a lot more about getting the content out the door, and making sure it's authentic and well written and the message is clear. Way more than you need to worry about is the lighting perfect on that shot. Maybe not. Yeah.
It is a cool part, or a cool time to be a part of the industry. And I know that no matter what industry you're actually in, because you are able to be super nimble with the way that things are. And so I think if I've learned anything over the past few years, it's like always be uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Like if you can do that and just walk in every day trying to figure out like, okay, how do I tweak things? One, it's very entrepreneurial. But 2, being willing to be in that mindset every day, I think it'll continue to make your business stronger year over year. Totally.
No, I think if you want to stick it out, you got to be nimble. Yesterday we preached about just networking, that meeting. And I said, I'm super biased because I love to do it. So, like I said, Emily, what's your thing? Cause you're not as into that as I am. And she was like, just don't stop believing in yourself. If you believe in yourself, she's like, and even if you don't mind closed doors, like make everybody think and know that you believe in yourself.
And throw spaghetti against the wall, right? Like, who knew that, like, the IBJ would care about my take on the blackout, right? But like, absolutely, I'll do it. And like, Doug Bulls, I'm always in your corner. Stick to the blackout, right?
Absolutely. Well, and that's what else they were like, well, how do you figure out who to network with? Because time's limited when you're in school. It's like, you're going to have some bad meetings.
Yes.
Like, you're going to have a coffee where you sit there and you're like, how did you get where you are? And they're going to be like, oh, I, did an internship and then just kind of stuck it out.
Yeah.
Let's waste an hour of both of our times.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Thank you for that endearing insight. That's fantastic. But then you'll get one where you felt like you could talk for 3 hours and you walk away from there and you're like, I'm going to buy a building one day. Which is very much, that's how we hit it off. We had a coffee and then we'll talk 6 months later and it's like nothing changed. And those are the people. And I also said, what you told me about is find advocates and mentors and find the people that will talk on your behalf when you're not there. And cling to those people when you're getting started.
And be those for other people as you make your way up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but I think when you're going through AI, all of those things ring true also. Be the first person to incorporate something and then talk about it. Go talk about it. Let other people in on it. If they do it,
don't guard great. Don't guard the toolbox.
Don't be a gatekeeper on the toolbox. I told them, because they're like, I feel like I have this tool. Butler College of Communications always talks about building your toolbox. And I said, yes, we primarily do production, but I still wrote a press release for a nonprofit yesterday just to help them out. And I was like, I have the toolbox to do that. And I'll write it, have other people revise it, have AI revise it, make sure it's good. So keep those tools in your toolbox, but just specialize. What do you love to do? Just because I was Mr. 800 clubs in high school, did it all. And then I got to college and I was like, I'm doing work. And then I joined a fraternity, which I never thought I'd do. Doug Bulls, you're my fraternity brother, speaking of. And I just put all my time into those two things. And so much better for it. So much better for it. I thought about doing other stuff. And at one point I was in a club or two and I just dropped them and kept sinking in. And I was like, if you're looking for your spot out of college, sink into, if you want to be a writer, join the Butler Collegian and do nothing but write. Be the best writer.
Get really good at it. Connect with the people that are there.
You'll get noticed. And then you have a giant portfolio. And don't be like, oh yeah, I'm a writer, but I'm also in this thing that hosts events. And I'm also in this thing that does recruitment. And I'm also in this. How do those tie together? Make sure your interests tie together when you're coming out of the gate. And then be the first person to be like, oh yeah, I write 10x the amount of my friends because I use AI. And it's still my thoughts and my ideas, but I'm revising things and I land 50% more of my pitches than anybody else because I have AI optimize it for the publication I'm going to. Fantastic. That's such a huge value.
It is. And I think that's how you you keep it for the long haul as well. Cool. I have, how much battery do we have left on that?
It's going to die any minute.
Okay.
We're good.
So, I'll save the obituary until next time. That'll be a plug.
Everybody's going to be confused now.
Yes. Next time we're going to talk about obituaries. And it's going to be a good one. So make sure to come back. This it's been good. I'm excited to make some more gutsy decisions over the next week and a half. It's going to be a good week. We've got some big things coming. And so as this background changes, it's going to be exciting to watch it grow here too.
Totally. All right. See you, everybody.
See ya.